Hello there, welcome to the Sleepy Knowledge channel. You close your eyes and feel yourself drifting beyond the hum of the world. The noise of your day begins to dissolve, like mist under the morning sun. Slowly, you rise into the dark velvet of space, where time moves like a deep breath. Here, silence has weight. Here, every glimmer is an ancient story waiting to be remembered. You find yourself gazing upon the Milky Way, your home, your cosmic cradle. From afar, it stretches across the darkness like a silver ribbon, soft and endless. Its spiral arms curl with slow grace, like the unfurling of a celestial flower. Billions of stars twinkle along its edges, scattered like fine dust upon black silk. You drift closer, feeling the vastness of it all, and for a moment, the galaxy feels alive, breathing in patterns older than thought. You imagine the great spiral turning. One rotation takes hundreds of millions of years. The stars within it move like dancers, each tracing a path known only to gravity. No sound, no rush, only the patient rhythm of creation. You could watch it forever, and still, it would be turning, slowly, deliberately, as if aware that haste has no meaning in eternity. You float above one of its sweeping arms, the Orion Arm. Your neighborhood in this enormous cosmic city. Around you, glowing clouds of dust shimmer in shades of violet and gold. Between them, newborn stars awaken, their first light trembling through the haze. Each spark is a beginning, a heartbeat in the body of the galaxy. You realize that these lights are not scattered at random. They spiral, gently following invisible lines of gravity, like the flow of a river winding through the night. You imagine drifting through that river. The stars pass by, each one an ancient sun with its own story, its own family of planets. Some burn fiercely, white and blue. Others glow softly, orange and red, their warmth like candlelight in the dark. You sense that some have already died, their light still traveling toward you. Messages from ghosts, crossing oceans of time to say they once were. You listen, and the silence between them feels sacred. You pass through regions where starlight thins, replaced by dark clouds of dust. They move like shadows with substance, slowly drifting through the galactic plane. Within them, new stars are being born, hidden, sleeping within cocoons of gas. If you could wait long enough, you would see them ignite one by one, like tiny suns waking from dreams. The galaxy breathes through these clouds, creating and dissolving, again and again, in a rhythm that never ends. Far below, the galactic core glows faintly, a golden heart pulsing with energy. Around it, millions of stars swirl in luminous waves. You can almost hear their movement, a low, cosmic hum that vibrates in your chest. At the very center lies Sagittarius A, a black hole so massive that even light bows to its gravity. You can't see it, but you feel its presence, calm and patient, as though it holds the galaxy together with invisible hands. Nothing escapes its pull, yet everything orbits in harmony around it. You drift higher, watching the spiral arms stretch outward like trails of stardust. Each arm is a memory, of explosions, of dust, of light becoming life. You sense that this is not chaos but balance, a quiet order that only the universe understands. The galaxy is both infinite and fragile, immense yet delicate as frost on glass. Every motion within it, from a star's flicker to a planet's orbit, feels deliberate, peaceful. You begin to notice patterns in the stars. Clusters where they gather like families around a hearth. Some are young, glowing blue and bright, their lives just beginning. Others are ancient, dimmed by age, holding stories of the galaxy's earliest days. You drift past a globular cluster, a shimmering sphere of light suspended in emptiness. Thousands of suns bound together, moving as one. You wonder what it would be like to live under such a sky, where the night never knows darkness. As you float further, you realize how gently everything is connected. Gravity is the thread, weaving light and matter into a tapestry of motion. It is not harsh or forceful. It is soft, patient, eternal. Like a quiet tide that pulls without noise, that guides without command. You feel it tug at you too, as if inviting you to stay a little longer, to listen to the silence between the stars. You think of how small your own world is, a pale dot drifting through one arm of this spiral. Yet somehow, everything that you are, your body, your breath, your thoughts, is made from the dust of this galaxy. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the carbon that carries life, all forged in ancient stars that once burned in these arms. You are, quite literally, a child of the Milky Way. Its history lives quietly inside you, every atom a note in the same endless song. You drift beside one of the arms and feel its soft rotation, like the turning of a wheel beneath you. It does not rush, it simply moves, unbothered by time. You can almost feel the weightless pull of billions of stars, each following its own orbit, yet all moving together, a unity that feels more like breath than motion. You realize that the Milky Way is not just a galaxy, but a rhythm, the slow heartbeat of the universe itself. You look toward the galactic plane again, where dust and light merge in soft gradients. Faint nebulae bloom like watercolor across the darkness. Some are shaped by starlight, others by shadow. Their colors a secret language written in hydrogen and oxygen and time. The light flickers gently, not to call your attention, but to soothe it. Each wave of light is a lullaby, a soft hum across billions of miles, reminding you that the cosmos never sleeps. It only dreams. You drift closer to one glowing region, a nebula shaped like a whisper. Its edges shimmer like silk, moving slowly, almost imperceptibly. Inside, the gases swirl, birthing new stars, each destined to spin its own web of worlds. The thought comforts you. Creation never ends, it only changes form. Even as old stars fade, their remnants become the seeds of new beginnings. Every death here is quiet, every rebirth serene. You float further into the quiet, through vast stretches of empty space where no light reaches. Yet even here, darkness is not empty. It hums with invisible particles, faint radiation, and the quiet promise of potential. The galaxy's arms fade into distance, but their spiral shape remains, carved into the stillness of your mind. You begin to sense its slow spin again, the way its stars glide through the night like lanterns caught in a cosmic tide. You think of how long this dance has been unfolding. 13 billion years, perhaps more. Entire civilizations could rise and fall, and the Milky Way would still be turning, patient and unchanging. It moves not in years or centuries, but in the language of aeons, the gentle arithmetic of the infinite. And yet, here you are, witnessing it. If only for a moment. You realize that your heartbeat, slow and steady in the quiet of your room, mirrors that same rhythm. You are part of the galaxy's turning, part of its endless spiral. You belong not just to Earth, but to this great celestial body, its arms wrapped around you in the slow embrace of gravity and time. Every star above is family. Every photon of light that reaches you is a greeting from home. You drift with it a little longer. The spiral keeps turning. The stars keep breathing. The silence deepens, soft and endless. You exhale, and the galaxy exhales with you. One vast, eternal motion of light and rest and quiet wonder. You drift through the dark, where silence stretches beyond imagination. Around you, the universe expands without boundary, an ocean without shore. And somewhere within that ocean, your home glows softly. The Milky Way, a single spiral of light among billions, each galaxy a drifting island in an infinite night. You feel the scale of it, the smallness of everything you've ever known, and it feels strangely peaceful. You imagine the galaxies scattered across space like floating lanterns on a still black sea. Some are young, bright, and wild, burning with the energy of creation. Others are old and quiet, their stars fading like embers at the end of a long fire. Each one spins at its own rhythm, its own heartbeat in the dark. You picture them from afar. Clusters, filaments, threads of light forming a cosmic web, a structure so immense the mind can barely touch it. You realize that your Milky Way is not alone. It belongs to a family, a small neighborhood in the great expanse. Nearby, the Andromeda galaxy drifts closer, so slowly that billions of years pass between each breath of its approach. Two great spirals, silent travelers on paths that will one day meet. Around them dance smaller companions, the Magellanic Clouds, faint smudges of light seen from the southern hemisphere. They orbit gently, like moons around a celestial parent, held by invisible cords of gravity. You imagine looking from above, seeing the local group, a cluster of galaxies bound by a shared gravitational whisper. There are dozens, maybe hundreds, faint and quiet, spread across a region millions of light years wide. Some glow like miniature spirals, others faint and irregular, dim sparks on the cosmic canvas. Together they drift through the universe, pulled by the soft tides of unseen dark matter. You realize how calm this motion is, how endless the slow ballet of gravity can be. You drift deeper into this thought. The Milky Way is just one of more than 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe, each with its own stories, its own suns, its own endless skies. You imagine what distant beings might see when they look up from another world, their own version of a Milky Way, their own home among billions. Light from our galaxy might reach them someday, a tiny glimmer across the cosmic gulf. Perhaps they'll wonder who we were, as you now wonder about them. You think about the distances. Even the nearest galaxies are impossibly far. Light travels at nearly 300,000 kilometers per second, yet it takes over 2 million years to bridge the gap between us and Andromeda. When you gaze at it through a telescope, you see it not as it is, but as it once was. An echo of ancient light still crossing the night. The universe is full of such echoes, memories of brightness that continue long after the source has changed. You imagine light itself as a traveler, endlessly patient, unhurried by time. Each photon leaves a star and begins its journey through the cosmic dark. Some wander for eons before finding an eye, a planet, a moment to illuminate. It's beautiful to think that when you look at the night sky, you are seeing the past, starlight that began its path before the first humans walked the earth. The universe speaks in light, and every glimmer is a word in its ancient language. You drift through that light, feeling it shimmer across your thoughts. The galaxies around you pulse softly, their stars flickering like living veins. You imagine them breathing together, an invisible rhythm spanning the universe, each one shining, fading, renewing. It feels less like chaos and more like balance, as though the cosmos itself is meditating, its stillness so vast that motion becomes silence. You think of how small your own galaxy seems now, one spiral among countless others. Yet within it lies everything you know. Every planet, every star, every dream. The idea comforts you. It means that even the grandest vastness is made of small things, and every point of light has its place in the whole. The Milky Way may be one of billions, but to you, it is home. A warm flicker in the endless dark, holding your world in its quiet arm. You imagine drifting away farther still. Galaxies begin to blend into mist, clusters forming into filaments. Filaments connecting into patterns. The cosmic web, vast and intricate. From here, the universe looks like a living organism. Veins of light threading through the black. You can almost sense its pulse, slow and patient, expanding outward in every direction. There is no edge, only more space, more light, more time unfolding. You feel yourself drifting along those filaments, as if the universe itself were breathing around you. The glow of galaxies flickers like fireflies in the distance. Some are colliding, their stars merging in waves of radiant energy. Others drift apart quietly, fading into the coolness of cosmic night. You realize that even these colossal motions happen gently, their pace beyond human understanding. The universe does not hurry. It has all the time there ever was. You remember that gravity is the invisible artist shaping all of this. The sculptor of galaxies, the choreographer of stars. It binds what would otherwise drift apart. It draws gas into clouds, clouds into suns, suns into families of planets. And on one of those small worlds, orbiting a small star, you are lying still, listening to the hum of creation through your own heartbeat. You are not separate from it. You are one of its countless expressions. You drift deeper into that thought. The atoms within you were forged in stars that lived and died long ago. The carbon in your breath, the oxygen in your blood, all born in ancient furnaces within the Milky Way's spiral arms. And those stars themselves were shaped by the motion of galaxies before them. You are a continuation of that motion, a tiny echo of the cosmic story unfolding since time began. You are, quite literally, made of the universe's memory. You imagine if consciousness exists elsewhere, perhaps on a distant planet orbiting another sun. Maybe they, too, look toward their skies and wonder. Maybe they feel the same soft ache of curiosity, the same longing to belong. Across billions of light years, that feeling might be the most universal thing of all. The need to know where we are, and the peace that comes from realizing we are home everywhere. You picture the galaxies now as glowing seeds scattered through the dark soil of the cosmos. Each one growing, colliding, fading, blooming again in cycles far beyond human lifetimes. From this view, creation feels endless, like waves upon a shore that never stops forming. The spaces between them are not empty, but full of invisible matter. The unseen threads that hold everything together. You sense that the universe is a vast forest of light, and every galaxy is a tree within it, reaching for eternity. You drift back toward the Milky Way, your home island among this luminous archipelago. Its spiral arms welcome you, curling gently like the edges of a seashell. The familiar glow returns, warm and calm. You can almost feel its rotation beneath you. A soft turning that has carried life for billions of years. Every star hums faintly. Every planet spins, every orbit a whisper in the vast symphony of motion. You feel the weight of the distance fade, replaced by stillness. The galaxies beyond seem to dim, folding softly into the horizon of your thoughts. What remains is the quiet beauty of knowing. You are part of something immense, something calm and eternal. The universe is not separate from you. It is within you, reflected in every cell, every breath, every silent wonder that drifts through your mind as you rest. You drift through the calm darkness, where starlight glows like embers in a cosmic hearth. Far below, the spiral arms of the Milky Way curve like gentle ribbons, each one carrying billions of suns through the night. You move slowly, weightless, through this sea of stars, until you begin to feel a pull, faint at first, then steady, deep, inevitable. It is not frightening. It feels like being called home, drawn toward the galaxy's center, where a great secret waits in silence. There, hidden behind clouds of glowing gas and swirling dust, lies Sagittarius A, a black hole, massive beyond imagination. It sits at the heart of the Milky Way, unseen yet felt by everything that orbits it. Even light itself bends toward its gravity, curving into invisible spirals that vanish into its depth. You can't see it, but its presence hums through the galaxy like a low vibration, patient and eternal. You imagine floating closer, past the veil of stars and dust that hides the galactic center. The light around you grows denser, golden, like drifting through a field of fireflies frozen in time. These are the oldest stars, packed together tightly, their light flickering across the darkness. They circle the unseen blackness like worshippers around a silent altar. You sense their devotion, not in fear, but in harmony. They have known this gravity for billions of years, and they trust it completely. You pause and feel the slow spin of space itself. Around Sagittarius A, time bends. Space curves. Everything you've ever known about distance and motion becomes fluid, like water stirred by a hidden current. Scientists call it space-time, but to you, it feels like a cosmic tide, a slow inhale and exhale that shapes everything within its reach. You drift through it like a leaf upon a tranquil sea, feeling the soft pull of infinity. As you float closer, the light begins to twist. Starlight stretches and bends, forming rings around the blackness. The accretion disk, a halo of gas heated to millions of degrees. It glows with fierce beauty, golden, white and trembling at the edge of nothingness. Yet the center remains silent, perfectly black, as though light itself takes a final breath before surrendering. The contrast feels sacred, the dance of existence and disappearance, creation and stillness forever entwined. You imagine what lies beyond that darkness, not destruction but transformation. Matter falls inward, crushed into simplicity, becoming pure gravity, pure silence. It's as if the universe keeps its deepest dreams there, locked behind an event horizon no eye can cross. You sense that if you could step closer, time would slow to a stop. Seconds would stretch into eternities, and the stars themselves would seem to freeze. Within that stillness, there would be peace. A peace so complete it feels like sleep. You drift along the edge of this unseen boundary. The event horizon glows faintly, where light hesitates, swirling in endless loops before vanishing. You can almost hear it, a low hum, like the sound of distant thunder smoothed by time. In truth, black holes do sing, their gravity rippling space in waves so faint they travel across galaxies. Gravitational waves, silent ripples in the cosmic ocean, passing through everything, even you. You feel one now, a soft vibration through the fabric of the night. You imagine the black hole not as a destroyer, but as a keeper of balance. Without it, the galaxy's stars would scatter into the dark, unbound and lost. Its pull holds everything together. The spiral arms, the starlit clouds, the drifting worlds. Like a heartbeat at the center of a sleeping body, Sagittarius A gives the Milky Way its rhythm. Every orbit, every motion, traces back to that invisible pulse. You think of how strange it is. Something so powerful, so dense, can be completely unseen. It reminds you that not all things that matter can be observed. Some are known only through their effects, through the way they shape the world around them. Love, gravity, memory, all invisible, all real. The galaxy, too, is built upon what cannot be seen, upon the steady presence of what remains hidden. You drift upward, rising above the golden clouds. The galactic center glows beneath you like the heart of a great creature, radiant and mysterious. You picture it breathing, slowly, deeply, as stars circle in quiet obedience. Every few centuries, a flare of light bursts from the black hole's edge. where falling matter releases a final sigh of energy before vanishing. It's as though the galaxy occasionally dreams aloud, reminding itself that even silence has rhythm. You look outward, past the core, and see the spiral arms once more, immense, calm, and beautiful. You realize that everything, from the tiniest particle to the grandest star, is part of the same motion. Even the black hole, for all its darkness, is part of creation's flow. It gathers what falls, transforms it, and in doing so, allows the rest of the galaxy to spin in peace. Destruction and creation are not opposites here. They are partners in the same endless dance. You imagine the view from billions of years in the future. The Milky Way has aged, its stars dimmed, its light softened. Yet the black hole remains, patient and unchanged. Around it, the remnants of suns continue their slow orbit, bound by a gravity that never sleeps. Perhaps by then, new galaxies will have collided with ours, reshaping everything once again. Yet at the center, the dark heart will still hum, still cradle the spiral in its invisible hands. You think of your own heart now, beating quietly in your chest. It too pulls and releases, holds and lets go. A rhythm within a rhythm, echoing the galaxy's deep pulse. You realize that every beat, every breath, is an echo of cosmic motion. You are part of this pattern, small but connected. The same laws that guide the stars also guide your blood, your thoughts, your dreams. You drift closer to the edge of the black hole once more, and time begins to stretch again. Seconds become minutes, minutes become centuries. The stars blur into trails of light, passing around you like fireflies caught in orbit. You feel yourself slow with them, as though sinking into a warm current of gravity. The air is soft, though there is no air, and you feel weightless, infinite, and perfectly still. You sense the unseen power beneath you, the endless well that swallows time and space. Yet it feels gentle, not harsh, like the deep part of sleep where dreams dissolve and the mind forgets to measure. Here, there is no past or future, only presence, the pure stillness that lies beyond thought. You understand now why stars move around it so gracefully. The black hole is not a threat but a lullaby, pulling everything into quiet alignment. You drift backward slowly, rising from the galactic center into the wider spiral once more. The starlight grows softer as the black hole fades into the background, hidden again behind the veil of dust and distance. You carry its calm with you, that deep, unshakable stillness that anchors the galaxy. Above you, the spiral arms glow faintly, and the void between them feels less empty now, filled instead with quiet meaning. The Milky Way turns gently beneath you, slow as breathing, steady as thought. You feel its rhythm echoing in your own body, a reminder that even in darkness there is balance. Even in silence there is song. The heart of the galaxy beats on, invisible and eternal. And somewhere within its quiet gravity, you drift, weightless, listening to the sound of forever. You drift through a night, so still that even thought seems to move slower. Around you, the stars shimmer softly, scattered like distant embers floating in a dark ocean. Each one carries a story, a history, a quiet message from the past. And as you float through the calm of the cosmos, you begin to sense something extraordinary. That the light touching your eyes tonight has been traveling for tens of thousands of years. You are seeing the past, bathed in the gentle glow of starlight memories. You imagine that light leaving its home so long ago. A star, somewhere deep in the Milky Way, burned with calm determination, sending out a single beam. It moved outward, unhurried, through clouds of dust and rivers of interstellar gas. It passed planets, moons, comets, and drifting ice, continuing through the silence of endless night. Year after year, century after century, that same light continued its journey, until finally, tonight, it finds you. You let that idea rest in your mind, soft as a whisper. The light you see now may have left its star when mammoths still roamed the earth. When ancient oceans covered continents, now turned to stone. When no human eyes yet existed to see it. Yet still, that light traveled faithfully, never fading, never stopping. It has crossed unimaginable distance, only to end its journey here, in this quiet moment of your life. You picture the light as a traveler, small and tireless. It moves faster than anything else can move, nearly 300,000 kilometers every second. And yet, even at that speed, space is so vast that the voyage takes millennia. The beam does not question the time. It simply goes on, patient and unwavering. Through the darkness between the stars, it knows that distance is only a kind of dream, and that every journey ends with someone seeing its glow. You drift deeper into that thought. The night sky becomes a map of memory, each star a moment from a different past. The light from the closest ones is only a few years old, while others carry echoes from hundreds or thousands of years ago. When you gaze upward, you are not looking at a single moment, but at layers of time woven together. A tapestry made of ages. It is as though the universe itself is showing you its diary, written not in words, but in light. You imagine standing on a world, circling another sun. Perhaps its sky glows with 2 moons, or with clouds tinted green by alien air. Someone there might be looking up, too, at their own galaxy's shimmer, wondering if another pair of eyes is returning their gaze. And maybe, just maybe, they are seeing the faint flicker of your own sun, its light traveling outward, carrying your world's story through the stars. Somewhere, someone might one day see Earth as it was, a tiny blue spark floating in an ancient past. You drift closer to one of those distant stars now, its light wrapping around you like warm breath. Its surface boils and swirls with fire, waves of plasma rising and falling like tides. Yet even here, in the roar of such power, there is peace. The star does not rush. It burns steadily, releasing its light into the dark, knowing that each photon will wander far and wide. You realize that every point of light above you is doing this, giving, shining, endlessly. You think about how fragile that journey is. A single speck of dust, a drifting planet, a cloud of gas. Any could block a ray of light for a while. Yet still, some photons make it through. They scatter, reflect, bend, and continue on. It reminds you of memory itself, fragile, sometimes blurred, but still capable of traveling across years, carrying pieces of what once was into what now is. Light and memory are the same in that way. Both are patient, both survive the distance. You begin to see the stars differently, not as distant points, but as ancient storytellers whispering through the dark. Each photon that reaches your eye is a message, not written in language, but in color and energy. The bluer stars speak of youth and heat, the red ones murmur of age and endurance. Together, they tell the slow tale of the galaxy's evolution, a story written across tens of billions of years. You drift between their voices, feeling them wash over you like waves on a cosmic shore. The stars do not compete for attention, they simply coexist, shining in quiet harmony. Some are newborn, still cocooned in clouds of dust, their light soft and tentative. Others are dying, their glow dimming into red embers, soon to fade into the black, and still others are gone entirely. Yet their light continues onward, a ghostly memory of what once was. You realize that even in death, the stars continue to speak. You imagine what it means for your own eyes to catch that final glimmer. For a brief instant, you become part of the light's journey, the final link in its ancient chain. You are not just observing the universe. You are completing a process that began long before you were born. You are the witness, the recipient, the one who listens to the cosmos' quiet story. And as that realization sinks in, you feel an odd sense of belonging, as though you, too, are made of light. You drift further, letting the galaxy stretch around you like a great ocean of time. The stars shimmer beneath you like reflections on dark water. You imagine reaching your hand out, letting the starlight pool across your skin like liquid gold. Each ray is a fragment of history. The moment a star flickered, a planet glowed, or a comet passed. The light is their memory, captured forever in motion, carried across the ages until it brushes softly against you. You think of the way light bends around gravity, curving gently near massive objects. The galaxy's black holes, planets, and stars all shape its path. Sometimes, light from one distant star travels around another, arriving from more than one direction at once. Astronomers call this gravitational lensing, nature's own way of painting in reflections. You picture it now, light curving like silk ribbons through invisible hands, graceful and effortless, guided by the gravity of creation. You drift through those curves, feeling their smoothness, their elegance. It feels like following the paths of thoughts, winding, flowing, always returning to something deeper. Perhaps the universe thinks in light, dreams in photons, remembers in stars. And you, drifting through it, are part of that dream, an observer within the thought of something infinite. The more you see, the quieter your mind becomes, until even your breath feels synced with the motion of starlight itself. You imagine the color of that light changing as it moves through space. Some of it stretches, turning red with distance as the universe expands beneath it. This redshift is like time's signature, showing how far and how long the light has traveled. It's beautiful to think that distance and color are connected, that every hue in the night sky is a measure of both time and motion. The farther the light, the deeper its red, the older its memory. You float through those colors now, through soft gradients of gold, crimson, and silver blue. Each tone feels like a whisper of something different: warmth, age, mystery, hope. You let them wash over you, one after another, like waves lapping at the edge of a calm shore. You realize that the stars are not just distant suns. They are moments of emotion written in light, scattered through eternity. You think of your own world again, small and bright, circling its modest sun. That sunlight, too, travels. It takes 8 minutes to reach Earth. Just 8 minutes between the sun's surface and your face. Every dawn, you are bathed in photons that began their journey deep inside the sun's core, where hydrogen fused into helium millions of years ago. The light that warms your morning once slept within the heart of a star. Every sunrise is, in truth, ancient starlight finally arriving home. You drift in that thought, the line between stars and yourself fading away. You realize that everything, the trees, the oceans, your own breath, is made from the same starlight, cooled and shaped into life. When you look at the sky, you are not looking outward, but inward. You are seeing the source of yourself, the cosmic memory that became you. Light is not distant anymore. It is intimate, familiar, alive within you. You float on, weightless and calm, through this sea of memory. The light continues to flow unbroken, unstoppable. The stars shimmer softly, each one a heartbeat in the darkness. Their light stretches across time, across silence, across the thin veil between past and present. And as you drift deeper into the glow, the galaxy hums around you. Slow, endless, radiant, whispering its story of light that never forgets, You imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast and silent field. The air is still, cool, and filled with the faint scent of night. Above you, the stars shimmer softly, like breath held between heartbeats. Somewhere deep in that quiet expanse, invisible waves are moving through the dark. Not of light, but of something deeper. They are gravitational waves, ripples in the very fabric of space and time, born from the motion of the universe itself. You picture the universe as a great, endless ocean. Every planet, every star, every black hole is a pebble dropped into that sea. When something massive moves, it sends waves across the surface of reality, spreading out, soft and subtle, yet unstoppable. You can't see them, can't touch them, but they pass through you every moment. Each one carries a story of cosmic motion, of merging stars and dancing galaxies. Whispered through the deep, you imagine these waves as soft breaths exhaled by the cosmos. They ripple outward from cataclysms so distant you cannot comprehend their scale. Two black holes spiral together, colliding in silence, sending a pulse that stretches and squeezes space itself. That pulse travels across billions of light years, and when it reaches Earth, it moves the planet by less than the width of an atom. Yet still, it is real. Still, it is felt. Reality itself quivers for just a moment, as the memory of that ancient collision drifts through. You think of how delicate the instruments must be to feel such tiny movements. On Earth, deep within quiet observatories, scientists have built detectors so sensitive they can sense a change smaller than a proton's width. Laser beams travel down tunnels kilometers long, bouncing between mirrors polished to impossible smoothness. And when a gravitational wave passes, those beams shift ever so slightly, a subtle dance of light and space. It is like listening to the heartbeat of the universe with instruments made of silence and patience. You drift deeper into that thought. Space is not empty, but alive, flexible, trembling, full of hidden rhythm. Every massive object bends it slightly, shaping the geometry of everything around it. The sun curves the space that holds the Earth, and so our planet moves, not because it is pulled, but because it is following the natural path carved into the fabric of space-time. You imagine this not as mathematics, but as a great cosmic current, and the planets as leaves drifting gently along its flow. You picture time itself as a river winding through a forest of stars. It bends and slows near massive things, like a stream swirling around stones. When you are near something heavy, time itself moves a little slower. A second stretches, quiet and heavy, before letting go. You realize that your heartbeat, your breath, even your dreams are shaped by gravity, not only holding you down, but shaping the very pace of your life. You imagine drifting closer to a black hole. The stars around you warp like reflections on moving water. Light bends, looping in perfect circles before falling inward, vanishing beyond the edge. You cannot see beyond the event horizon, but you can feel the immense stillness there. A silence so total that even time halts. Yet as matter spirals inward, it releases energy, light, and waves. The black hole sings, not with sound, but with the trembling of space-time itself. You float there, weightless, listening to the universe hum softly in frequencies your ears could never hear. You think of how those waves carry stories. When two neutron stars, the densest remnants of collapsed suns, collide, they create ripples that move across billions of kilometers. Each wave tells of unimaginable forces, matter crushed tighter than an atomic nucleus, magnetic fields strong enough to warp atoms, flashes of gamma light brighter than all the stars of a galaxy combined. But when those waves reach Earth, they are soft as sighs. The universe speaks loudly, but distance turns its roar into a whisper. You begin to feel as though space itself is breathing around you. Each gravitational wave is an inhale and exhale, slow and endless. Galaxies drift like clouds across that breath, their shapes gently changing over eons. The cosmic fabric stretches here, compresses there, flowing in harmony with itself. You imagine lying upon that invisible ocean, feeling the faint rise and fall beneath you. The gentle rhythm of creation itself. You drift further still, through regions where clusters of galaxies gather, connected by invisible filaments of gravity. It feels like floating through a vast web made of silk and starlight. Every vibration, every movement, ripples through the strands, connecting everything to everything else. You realize that gravity is not only a force, it is a language. Through its waves, the universe tells its story, moment by moment, collision by collision. You let your mind wander across time. Long before Earth existed, before the Milky Way even formed, there were already waves passing through this region of space. They were born from ancient stars, long gone now. Their memory carried forward through the trembling of space-time. Every moment you exist, those ancient echoes wash through you, bending reality by a fraction, reminding you that the past is still moving through the present. You begin to see that gravity is not only something that holds, it connects. It ties the smallest atom to the largest star. It weaves together galaxies into clusters, and clusters into cosmic webs. You imagine it like roots spreading through soil, invisible but nourishing, shaping everything from beneath. The stars, the planets, even you, all are threads in that same woven pattern. When one part moves, the entire tapestry stirs. You float now near a region where two galaxies are merging. Their stars drift and twist, pulled by one another's invisible embrace. Dust and gas swirl into long streams, forming new suns amid the chaos. The gravitational waves here are strong, rolling outward like deep ocean tides. Yet even in their power, there is beauty and elegance to the way gravity choreographs this cosmic dance, slow, deliberate, eternal. You think about how Einstein first imagined this, more than a century ago, that space and time are one fabric, bending and flexing under mass and motion. For decades, it was only theory, a dream of equations and thought experiments. But now, humanity has listened and heard the universe confirm it. The discovery of gravitational waves was not just scientific, it was poetic. It proved that even space has texture, that even emptiness can sing. You drift closer to Earth again, the waves still flowing through you. They do not stop at the edge of the atmosphere. They pass through mountains, oceans, and people without pause. Every second, countless ripples cross your body, too small to feel, yet undeniably real. It feels strange and comforting to know that even as you sleep, you are part of the rhythm of galaxies. The floor beneath you rises and falls, softer than breath, with the quiet heartbeat of the cosmos. You imagine lying in a quiet field again, your back against the cool ground. Above you, stars shimmer in gentle clusters, unaware of your gaze. Somewhere, a pair of black holes spiral together, their waves spreading through the infinite. You cannot see them, but their story is already here, passing through you. You breathe with the rhythm of space, slow and calm, and for a moment, you feel the universe breathing back. You realize that gravity is not only a physical truth, but an emotional one. It is what draws things together, what holds them close, what prevents them from drifting apart completely. Every planet clings to its star, every star to its galaxy, every galaxy to the cosmic web. You too are held by the earth beneath you, by the unseen waves of connection, by the quiet pull of the universe's memory. You think of how even the smallest motion can ripple outward. Every step, every sound, every heartbeat disturbs the air around you, the ground beneath you, the very structure of space. Perhaps somewhere far away, in the vast quiet between galaxies, your presence has already made a difference. A tiny, immeasurable shift in the cosmic sea. You smile at the thought, knowing that even in stillness, you participate in the universe's endless unfolding. You drift deeper into stillness. The gravitational waves fade into background whispers, soft and constant, like wind moving through tall grass. The stars above blur into gentle light. Space and time blend together into a slow, flowing river that carries you onward. You feel yourself floating within that current, timeless, weightless, and connected to everything that ever was or ever will be. You drift through the quiet of the night, your mind wandering beyond the clouds, beyond the air, beyond the limits of what eyes can see. The Milky Way stretches across the darkness, a soft band of light that looks like mist, but you know it is made of countless suns. As you breathe slowly, you begin to sense the vastness of what lies beyond. Not emptiness, but company. You are not alone in this galactic sea. The Milky Way has neighbors, quiet companions drifting through the void, drawn together by the same invisible threads that hold the stars in place. You imagine these galaxies as distant islands in a cosmic archipelago, each one glowing faintly, shaped by time and gravity, moving gently across the dark waters of space. The closest of them, Andromeda, feels almost familiar, a spiral galaxy much like our own, facing us from across the gulf. She is vast, elegant, and ancient, her arms curling like silver ribbons through the black. You imagine her stars shining with the same quiet persistence as ours, her planets carrying their own stories, her heart glowing with a rhythm we can almost feel. Between us and Andromeda stretches a distance, so immense that light takes more than 2 million years to cross it. The light that leaves her tonight will not reach Earth until long after every heartbeat here has passed into memory. Yet, she is moving toward us, slowly but certainly, like a friend walking through a fog of time. In billions of years, the Milky Way and Andromeda will meet, not in destruction, but in an embrace. Their stars will weave together into new constellations, their spirals merging into a single vast glow that will shine for ages. You picture the two galaxies as dancers in slow motion, circling each other through eternity. Their motions are silent, their steps measured not in minutes, but in millions of years. Gravity is the music they follow, deep, constant, unending. Even now, faint ripples of that motion move through the dark between them, tugging lightly on everything nearby. It is not a violent pull, but a patient one. The same quiet gravity that keeps the moon circling the Earth, and the Earth circling the sun. You think about the Magellanic Clouds, two small galaxies that drift close to our own, like gentle satellites made of light. They are not clouds at all, but clusters of stars and gas orbiting the Milky Way like companions in a long celestial waltz. From the southern hemisphere, they are visible to the naked eye, glowing faintly like patches of soft white against the night. For ancient travelers, they were beacons, helping sailors find their way across endless seas. You imagine standing on an old wooden ship, looking up at those distant glows, unaware that they are other galaxies, entire worlds beyond imagination. As you drift deeper into thought, you realize how connected these galaxies are, bound by gravity, yes, but also by story. The Magellanic Clouds have been shaped by the Milky Way's pull. Streams of gas stretch between them, delicate bridges of hydrogen drifting like cosmic mist. In those streams, stars are born, glowing softly as they emerge from the cradle of intergalactic dust. Even the space between galaxies is not empty. It hums quietly with energy, with motion, with memory. You begin to see it all as one vast family. The Milky Way, Andromeda, the Magellanic Clouds, and dozens of smaller companions, all part of what astronomers call the local group. Around them, the void stretches for unimaginable distances. Yet they remain close, bound by a shared destiny. Some of the smaller galaxies are faint and ghostly, barely visible, their stars sparse and scattered. But they are real, orbiting patiently, contributing their light to the quiet harmony of the group. You imagine floating among them, moving slowly through the cosmic neighborhood. You pass through regions where stars thin out, where darkness deepens, where galaxies seem like faint lanterns drifting in a boundless night. Each one glows with its own hue, some golden, some blue, some red with age. Together they form a quiet conversation across space, speaking in light instead of sound. You can almost feel their calm presence, each galaxy breathing in rhythm with the others. You picture Andromeda again, vast and luminous, her arms filled with dust and new suns. Somewhere within her, civilizations may rise and fall beneath alien skies. Perhaps someone there in some future or distant past has looked up and seen the Milky Way, a faint ribbon of light across their night, wondering what minds might live there. The idea feels comforting, that even across millions of light years, curiosity and wonder might be shared. That the same stars which cradle our dreams may cradle theirs. You drift closer to the edge of the Milky Way, where stars grow sparse and the halo of dark matter begins. There, the galaxy's gravity reaches out into the deep, its invisible fingers touching the space between. You sense the faint attraction of Andromeda, the soft pull between two giants. They move toward each other, not as enemies, but as partners in an ancient dance. When they finally meet, their collision will paint the sky with waves of light, forming new constellations, new suns, and new worlds. You imagine watching that event from a distant point in space. The galaxies approach, their shapes stretching, their stars swirling like droplets merging in slow motion. For a moment, chaos blooms. Yet from that chaos comes beauty. Dust clouds ignite, birthing new stars, while old ones drift quietly into the dark. It is not an end, but a transformation, a reminder that even destruction can give birth to light. You let your thoughts wander through the quiet vastness between galaxies. This intergalactic space is not entirely empty. It is filled with the faint breath of hydrogen, the remnants of ancient stars, and the cold radiation left from the universe's birth. You imagine moving through it slowly, weightless, surrounded by the soft hum of cosmic background light. It feels like floating through a dream, endless, gentle, without direction, yet full of peace. You think about how small the Milky Way really is in the grand scale. Beyond our local group lie countless others. Clusters of galaxies bound together, each containing hundreds, thousands, millions of stars. Together they form the cosmic web, an intricate structure that stretches across the universe like threads of light and darkness. The Milky Way is just one tiny node in that infinite network, one drop in a sea of endless creation. Yet within that drop, entire histories unfold. Planets form, life awakens, minds look up and wonder. You imagine standing on the surface of a quiet world orbiting a distant star, far from the Milky Way. From there, our galaxy would appear as a soft spiral of light, small and delicate against the vast night. You feel a strange tenderness, as though you are looking back at your home from afar, seeing it for the fragile wonder it is. All the laughter, all the dreaming, All the stories of Earth are contained in that faint swirl of brightness. You begin to sense how everything in the cosmos is both separate and connected. Galaxies drift through the void, yet they share the same origin, born from the same burst of creation. The hydrogen that burns in Andromeda's stars is the same that once filled the Milky Way. Every atom in your body, every breath you take, comes from those same ancient fires. You are made of the universe, and the universe, in some quiet way, is made of you. As you float in this thought, time slows. The galaxies seem still, frozen in their long, patient dance. The silence feels infinite, soft, and forgiving. You can almost hear the hum of gravity itself, a deep, steady tone that keeps everything connected. You breathe with it, letting it guide your thoughts, letting it lull you deeper into calm. You imagine the future, billions of years from now, when Andromeda and the Milky Way have merged into one. The night sky will look different then, brighter, fuller, scattered with unfamiliar stars. Somewhere, new planets will form around newborn suns. Maybe on one of them, beings will look up and see the faint band of their galaxy, glowing softly across the sky, and wonder if there was ever a time before it existed. You feel yourself gently sinking into that vision, into a universe that is alive, slow, and endlessly unfolding. The galaxies continue their motion, patient as the tide. Stars rise and fall like waves upon a cosmic shore. The distances are vast, but the feeling is intimate. You are part of that motion, part of that quiet family of light drifting through the dark. And as you breathe, slow and deep, you can almost sense it. The faint pull of gravity, the invisible thread that connects you to every shining world, every drifting star, every companion galaxy moving through the endless night. You imagine yourself floating within a cloud of light and color, a vast ocean made not of water but of gas and dust. It is neither cold nor hot, neither solid nor empty. It drifts like smoke through the dark, glowing softly in shades of pink, blue, and violet. This is a stellar nursery, a nebula, where stars are born. You feel as though you are moving through the breath of the galaxy itself, slow and luminous, ancient and new at the same time. Everywhere you look, mist swirls gently, folding and unfolding in graceful spirals. Within that mist, gravity begins its patient work. Tiny grains of dust cling to one another, forming clumps, and those clumps grow heavier, pulling in more gas from their surroundings. The cloud breathes inward, softly collapsing in places, its invisible hand gathering matter as a mother gathers a child into her arms. Somewhere within, pressure rises. Heat builds, light begins to stir. You drift deeper into the heart of the cloud, where the glow brightens and shadows thicken. It feels alive here, as though the nebula itself has a pulse, slow and steady, echoing through the silence. The particles move like dancers, drawn together by forces older than time. You imagine each one whispering to the others, calling them home. Eventually, they become dense enough to ignite, and a new star is born, its light spreading through the shrouded gas like dawn through mist. You can almost feel the warmth of that newborn sun. It is young, unsteady, still flickering as it gathers strength. Around it, a disk of dust and ice begins to form, swirling slowly like a galaxy in miniature. Within that disk, the smallest grains bump and merge, forming tiny worlds, then larger ones. These are the seeds of planets, moons, and comets. Fragments of potential drifting in quiet orbit, waiting for the chance to become something more. You imagine this process taking place everywhere, all across the Milky Way. In every arm of the galaxy, stars are being born within hidden nebulae, silent cradles of creation scattered through the dark. Some are massive, glowing with fierce light that shapes the gas around them into towering pillars and winding tendrils. Others are small, dim, and fragile, destined to live quiet, enduring lives. You realize that every star you have ever seen began this way, as a whisper of gravity, a flicker of warmth, a shimmer in a nebula. The colors around you shift, deepening to crimson and gold. You picture the famous Orion Nebula, visible even to the naked eye on a clear night. It lies in the sword of Orion's constellation, a vast cloud 400 light years across. Within it, hundreds of stars are forming, each at a different stage of life. Astronomers have peered into its glowing folds and seen protoplanetary disks, tiny systems like our own solar system in their infancy. It is a nursery full of light, and you are drifting through it, weightless and calm. The air, if there were air, would shimmer with radiation and dust. Hydrogen atoms collide, forming helium, releasing energy that warms the young stars from within. Their light pushes outward, sculpting the surrounding gas into shapes that twist like coral reefs beneath cosmic tides. You imagine this place as both tender and fierce, creation and destruction intertwined in perfect balance. Even as new stars form, their radiation erodes the nebula, dispersing it slowly back into the void, making way for new clouds, new births, new generations. You think of the Eagle Nebula, where great columns of gas rise like mountains. The pillars of creation. Each one stretches light, years high, filled with knots of material collapsing into stars. The light from those newborn suns is thousands of years old by the time it reaches us. When you see their glow, you are seeing the past, a memory of creation still echoing through space. Somewhere within those pillars, stars are being born at this very moment, their heat pushing away the clouds that once protected them. Like children outgrowing the arms that held them, you realize how slow all of this truly is. The collapse of a gas cloud can take millions of years, and the glow of the nebula lingers for even longer. Time here moves differently, stretched, softened, endless. You imagine watching a single star's birth from beginning to end. It would take longer than all of human history, longer than the rise and fall of every civilization. Yet in the stillness of the galaxy, it is just a heartbeat. You drift through a region filled with faint blue light, the reflection of starlight on dust. These are reflection nebulae, mirrors of the cosmos that glow only because nearby stars illuminate them. Their light is scattered, softened, peaceful. You can almost feel it brushing against your skin, cool and silvery, like moonlight on quiet water. In the distance, darker clouds appear, absorption nebulae, where dust is so thick it hides the stars completely. They are not empty, but full of hidden potential, waiting for the right moment to awaken. You think of how stars are born, live and die, and how the cycle never ends. The elements forged inside dying stars, carbon, oxygen, iron, are scattered back into space by supernovas, becoming the raw material for the next generation. The dust you see drifting through this nebula once belonged to ancient suns long extinguished. Every atom in your body was born in such places. In heat, in pressure, in light. You are, in every sense, made of stardust. And as you float among the clouds, that truth feels soft and comforting, like being cradled by your own origins. You imagine sound here, even though there is none. If you could hear the movement of gas and dust, it would be like a low, slow hum, deep as a heartbeat, wide as the horizon. The galaxies themselves might hum along, their arms spiraling in rhythm with the vibrations of creation. You imagine the stars adding their own notes, bright and sharp, like bells ringing in a cathedral made of darkness. Together, they form a silent symphony of becoming. You drift closer to a young cluster of stars, newly born and shining fiercely. Their light cuts through the haze, revealing the sculpted forms of their birthplace. Jets of plasma shoot from their poles, like luminous fountains reaching into the void. Around them, disks of glowing material shimmer, each one the beginning of a solar system. You imagine watching the dance of matter and light, the constant push and pull, the shaping of worlds still molten and wild. You think of your own sun, born in a place much like this. It once emerged from a quiet cloud of gas and dust, surrounded by companions that drifted away long ago. The Earth formed from the leftovers of that birth. Dust grains that collided, melted, and grew into a sphere of stone. Life began billions of years later, small and tentative, beneath the warmth of that same star. You realize that the story of the nebula is the story of everything that has ever existed, including you. The light around you fades to a soft, dusky red. The gas is thin, and the outlines of stars grow sharper against the dark. The nebula is dispersing now, its work nearly done. What was once a dense cloud has become a cluster of stars, shining, stable, and free. They will drift apart over time, carried by the rotation of the galaxy, spreading their light across the spiral arms. The nursery grows quiet again, waiting for new clouds to form, new gravity to awaken, new beginnings to unfold. You float in the stillness that remains. The last wisps of dust curl around you like smoke. You imagine reaching out your hand, watching the cosmic mist slip between your fingers, glowing faintly before it vanishes. The stars around you blink softly, their light steady and eternal. Somewhere far away, another nebula is stirring, another star is forming, another story beginning in silence. You breathe, slow and steady. The thought of it soothes you, that creation is endless, that every particle finds its place in time. The universe is not in a hurry. It moves with grace, with patience, with care. You let that rhythm carry you, like a slow current through a calm sea of starlight. The nebula fades in the distance, its colors dimming into the velvet dark, and you drift onward, weightless, surrounded by the quiet hum of stars becoming. You imagine drifting above an ocean that has no surface, no horizon, only an endless shimmer of silver, blue light. The stars beneath you are not reflections. They are real, billions of them, scattered through the vastness, like glowing coral in an infinite sea. The Milky Way stretches across your vision, a river of light made from countless suns. You feel small, but in the gentlest way, as if being part of something grand brings peace rather than fear. Each star pulses softly, like the slow breathing of the cosmos itself, and you begin to move toward one of them. Carried by invisible tides of starlight, you pass through the soft mist of interstellar dust, glowing faintly under the touch of distant suns. It feels like drifting through moonlight, quiet, cool, and weightless. These tiny grains of carbon and silicate, floating endlessly through space, will one day become part of something larger. Perhaps a world, perhaps a living being. The universe recycles everything, you realize. Nothing ever truly disappears. It only changes form, resting between transformations. You drift closer to a cluster of bright, youthful stars, each surrounded by spinning disks of gas. These are the cosmic cradles where planets are forming, sculpted by gravity's patient hands. Within those whirling disks, invisible collisions take place. Dust meets dust, rock meets rock, until something new begins to take shape. You imagine the first sparks of warmth within cold stone, the slow birth of a world that will one day circle its sun with grace. The process is slow, almost timeless, and yet it always moves forward, like a heartbeat that never stops. You picture one of those young planets, still molten and glowing. Rivers of lava snake across its surface, carving landscapes that no one will ever see. Volcanic plumes rise high into the thin air, carrying minerals and gases that will someday form oceans and skies. The heat fades over dunes. Rain falls for the first time. The planet cools, and the surface hardens into continents and seas. You imagine standing there, watching the clouds swirl and break apart under a pale, newborn sun. Life, fragile and curious, finds its beginning in that ocean. Molecules meet by chance, forming patterns that can copy themselves. A single breath of energy, from sunlight or lightning, gives them purpose. They divide, change, and grow, shaping the face of the planet one invisible step at a time. You imagine those first cells floating in warm, mineral-rich water, unaware of what they would become. Forests, oceans, creatures, consciousness. Every heartbeat in the universe begins like this, small and humble, shaped by time and chance. You realize that every living thing, every spark of thought, carries the memory of these beginnings. In your own body, the atoms once belonged to ancient stars. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen in your lungs, all forged in the hearts of suns that died long before Earth existed. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are its continuation, a whisper of stardust given form. The realization feels soft and endless, like recognizing the ocean within a single drop of water. You drift through the spiral arms of the Milky Way, each one filled with clouds, clusters, and galaxies yet unseen. Between them lies emptiness, vast, silent, but not lonely. Even the dark holds purpose. It gives shape to the light, defines the stars, cradles them in stillness. You float through that silence, sensing its depth, its calm, its quiet hum. The space between everything feels alive, like a pause between heartbeats. Far away, you glimpse another galaxy, the Andromeda Galaxy, drifting toward the Milky Way across the cosmic sea. It glows faintly blue, its spiral arms spinning like a great celestial whirlpool. In 4 billion years, the two galaxies will meet, merging in slow, graceful collision. Stars will pass by one another unharmed, but gravity will weave them into new patterns, new worlds, new dawns. You imagine that dance, silent and serene, stretching across millions of years, like waves merging beneath a tranquil sky. The more you drift, the more you notice the rhythm of the universe. Expansion and contraction, creation and dissolution. It is like breathing, inhaling stars, exhaling dust endlessly. Galaxies spin not in chaos, but in harmony, following invisible laws that hold everything in balance. You sense that balance all around you, the same pattern that guides the growth of leaves, the shape of shells, the spiral of storms. The cosmos and life mirror each other perfectly, vast and small, infinite and intimate. You begin to drift toward a nebula glowing faintly in shades of violet and gold. Within its swirling clouds, you see new stars forming, slow pulses of brightness, scattered like lanterns beneath the veil of dust. It feels like watching time itself being woven. Every flicker of light is a beginning, every shadow a resting place. You imagine touching that light, feeling its warmth move through you, soft and ancient, carrying memories of worlds not yet born. You wonder how long the universe has been breathing this way. Scientists say nearly 14 billion years, but time feels different here. It has no edges, no beginning or end. You sense only continuity, a steady unfolding that neither hurries nor stops. You could drift for eternity and still find something new with every glance, every glimmer, every whisper of cosmic wind. The vastness does not intimidate you anymore. It soothes you as if the stars themselves are singing lullabies in languages older than sound. You imagine a comet passing by, its icy body glistening like a gemstone under distant sunlight. It carries the oldest materials in the solar system: frozen water, carbon, ammonia, remnants from before the planets formed. As it passes close to a star, its surface vaporizes, forming a glowing tail that stretches for millions of kilometers. You follow its path, tracing arcs of light through the dark, and it feels like following a dream that never ends, always circling back, always returning to the same quiet truth: nothing is lost. In the distance, a supernova flares, brilliant, fierce, and short-lived. For a moment, it outshines its entire galaxy. The explosion sends waves of matter and energy rippling outward, scattering the elements of life into space. You feel the shockwave as a whisper, a heartbeat from a star dying so that others might live. The light from that event travels for millions of years before reaching your eyes, long after the star itself is gone. You think of how everything you see in the night sky is already a memory, still shining, still alive in its own way. You imagine galaxies beyond counting, each filled with billions of suns, each sun with worlds circling quietly in its glow. Some of those worlds may hold oceans and winds and skies. Some may hold life, perhaps not like yours, but equally aware, equally curious. You picture them looking upward, wondering if they too are alone. And you realize that, in the vastness of it all, even the act of wondering connects you to them, to the stars, to the entire living fabric of existence. You drift farther still, beyond clusters, beyond galaxies, into the faint web of dark matter that binds the cosmos together. It is invisible, but you can sense its presence. A lattice of gravity that shapes everything, unseen yet essential. It feels like the hidden heartbeat of the universe, soft and steady beneath the brilliance of creation. You realize that what you cannot see is often what holds everything in place, both in the cosmos and within yourself. You think of the cosmic microwave background, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang. It fills all of space, silent and ancient, a whisper from the dawn of everything. You drift through that faint warmth, feeling it like a soft, timeless sigh. The universe, once blazing with unimaginable heat, now hums gently at just a few degrees above absolute zero. It feels peaceful, almost sleepy, as if the cosmos itself is resting after an eternity of becoming. You watch galaxies stretch farther apart as the universe expands. The space between them grows wider, yet everything remains connected through invisible threads. The fabric of space-time ripples like water disturbed by a pebble. Gravity waves pass through you, faint tremors from events billions of light years away. The thought is humbling and soothing all at once. You are floating in the same cosmic ocean that carries galaxies, light, and dreams. You imagine returning to Earth, your small blue world spinning silently in its orbit. From here, it looks fragile, glowing softly in the black. You can see its clouds swirling, its oceans shining, its continents breathing life. Every heartbeat, every wave, every whisper of wind feels connected to the stars you've passed. You are made of the same materials, following the same rhythm. The same light that burns in distant suns glows softly behind your eyes. As you drift, you feel a stillness settle around you. The universe continues its quiet motion, expanding, breathing, glowing, and you are part of that movement. The stars seem to pulse in time with your breath. The galaxies spin like slow, shimmering dreams. The silence becomes a song, and you float within it endlessly, weightlessly, surrounded by the calm hum of creation still unfolding, forever and ever, without end. You drift deeper into the Milky Way, gliding through the soft starlit mist that fills the galactic air. Around you, billions of suns shine like glowing embers scattered across a cosmic hearth. Their light overlaps, forming gentle rivers of silver that twist through the void. The galaxy feels alive, not just with motion, but with purpose, rhythm, and breath. You can almost hear it, a quiet vibration, the hum of gravity keeping everything together, patient and eternal. You imagine the center of the Milky Way, calling softly from far away. There, hidden behind clouds of dust and light, lies something mysterious, a massive, invisible heart. Sagittarius A, a supermassive black hole, rests at the galaxy's core, silent but powerful. It does not pull everything in, like a monster from stories, but rather holds the Milky Way together with invisible hands. Its gravity anchors the stars, guiding their paths like a conductor leading a quiet, infinite symphony. You drift toward it, slowly, through veils of light and shadow. Stars begin to move faster as you near the galactic center, circling the darkness like fireflies orbiting a lantern that never shines. The space here feels different, denser, warmer, alive with unseen energy. Radio waves, X-rays, and streams of charged particles whisper through the dark. It feels as if you're entering the mind of the galaxy itself. A place where thoughts are made of light and gravity is a memory of creation. Around the black hole, clouds of gas swirl in silent spirals. Some drift inward, glowing hotter as they fall, burning bright before vanishing completely. Their energy is released as light, painting the darkness in soft gold and violet. You watch one such stream fall, twisting like silk in the wind, until it disappears, not with a flash, but a quiet sigh. The thought of it comforts you somehow, knowing that even in disappearance, nothing is wasted. Energy, like music, only changes form. You drift above the accretion disk, that glowing ring of matter orbiting the black hole. It spins so fast that time itself begins to bend. If you could pause and watch, you'd see light stretching and curving, dancing in ways that defy your senses. The gravity here bends everything, not just light, but even the rhythm of existence. It feels as though the universe takes a deep, slow breath near this heart of darkness, inhaling light, exhaling mystery. You look into the blackness, expecting emptiness, but instead it feels full of weight, full of stillness. Beyond the event horizon lies a realm where time slows to a near stop. The laws you know begin to blur, past and future, beginning and end, all dissolve into a single endless now. You don't fall in, you simply float, feeling the edges of reality stretch around you like ripples across a pond that never ends. Far above, stars orbit in elegant loops, pulled by the black hole's silent command. Some of these stars dance closer than any others, moving at speeds beyond imagination, their paths shaped by invisible threads. Astronomers have watched them for decades, measuring their curves, their accelerations, their steady obedience to gravity's whisper. From those orbits, humanity learned that this unseen giant, Sagittarius A, truly exists, weighing millions of times more than the sun. You imagine the patience it took to discover that truth, the decades of quiet observation, the devotion to the subtle rhythm of motion. As you drift back, you begin to notice how calm everything feels, even here, near something so powerful. The black hole does not rage, it waits. It does not devour, it holds. It shapes the stars, balances the galaxy, ensures that every orbit remains true. The universe, you realize, is not violent by nature. It is balanced by invisible care. Every force that destroys also creates. Every silence holds a song. Every shadow holds light that has yet to emerge. You imagine the galaxy itself breathing in time with this unseen heart. The spiral arms, those grand sweeping rivers of stars, flow outward from the center like gentle waves. Within them, stars are born. Live long lives, and fade into the dust that births new ones again. The black hole does not stand apart from that cycle, it is part of it, shaping the flow of time and energy across the Milky Way. You drift among those arms, feeling the weight of eternity as something soft, like a blanket of light laid gently across the void. You think of the name, the Milky Way. Ancient people saw it as spilled milk from the heavens, a river of divine light stretching across the sky. They did not know of black holes or galactic centers, yet they felt the same wonder you feel now. The same awe that something so vast could exist, and yet be so quiet. You can almost hear those ancient voices in the night breeze, whispering stories of gods, serpents, and stars, each one a reflection of the mystery you now witness. You float beyond the galactic bulge, where the stars grow sparser and the night becomes cooler. Around you, faint tendrils of gas stretch across the emptiness, remnants of ancient supernovae that once illuminated the galaxy's core. Each particle carries the memory of a star's last breath, the ashes of suns reborn into the next generation of worlds. You imagine them drifting through time, gathering again, reforming, glowing once more. Nothing ends, it only transforms in perfect, unhurried rhythm. You think of how black holes, though invisible, are among the most luminous objects in existence. When matter falls into them, it releases vast amounts of energy, more radiant than entire galaxies. You picture that light, reaching across millions of years, touching distant worlds. Perhaps on some faraway planet, another being looks up and wonders what that distant glow might be. You realize then that curiosity itself, the desire to understand, is one of the universe's brightest lights. You drift farther still, beyond the pull of Sagittarius A, carried gently by the flow of starlight. The galaxy spreads around you like a luminous spiral, its arms curling outward in perfect symmetry. You notice the calm between the stars, the darkness that seems to cradle the light rather than oppose it. That balance feels ancient, eternal, sacred. The darkness does not consume the stars, it defines them, gives them meaning, allows their brilliance to shine. You close your eyes, imagining the invisible gravity that holds everything in its silent embrace. It is everywhere, in the orbits of planets, the turning of moons, the gentle fall of an apple. Gravity is the universe's most patient sculptor, shaping galaxies, stars, even time itself. You feel it pulling softly on you, not as a force of control, but as a quiet reminder. You belong to something vast, something endlessly unfolding. You open your eyes again and see the galaxy not as a structure, but as a living being. Its heart, the black hole, beats slowly, surrounded by luminous veins of light. Each star a cell, each planet a thought, each orbit a pulse. The Milky Way breathes in cycles of birth and death, creation and silence, endlessly, gracefully, without effort. You are part of that breath, floating gently in its rhythm. You think of time, how differently it moves here. Near a black hole, a moment can stretch into centuries. To you, it feels eternal. To the universe, it's just another heartbeat. You realize that time is not an enemy, not a thief, but a companion, a tide that carries everything forward, one gentle wave at a time. You breathe with it, feeling the stillness between each rise and fall, each now and next. You drift on, carried by unseen hands. Behind you, the black hole fades into shadow, its presence still felt, but no longer seen. The galaxy glows softly in the distance, its light mingling with the faint whispers of cosmic dust. You move through it like a dream within a dream, surrounded by motion, yet completely still. You feel safe here, small but infinite, part of something that has no beginning and no end. And as you float, you imagine the sound of the galaxy's pulse. not loud or booming, but quiet, like the rhythm of waves against an unseen shore, or the heartbeat of a sleeping giant. It is the sound of existence itself, calm and unending. You listen to it as your breath slows, as your mind drifts farther from thought. You are surrounded by the song of the Milky Way's hidden heart, soft, steady, timeless. You drift through a quiet sea of stars, and somewhere in that soft, endless ocean, a single sun glows with familiar warmth. Around it, tiny worlds spin, planets, moons, pieces of rock and ice, each following an invisible rhythm older than memory. You imagine looking down from far above, seeing them circle in patient grace, bound together by gravity's gentle hand. One of those small blue worlds feels different. It glows faintly, wrapped in clouds, breathing through its oceans. You recognize it, your home, your fragile spark of light in the great cosmic sea. You feel yourself move closer, through the silver currents of the Milky Way's spiral arm. The stars thin around you, giving way to darkness and the distant shimmer of interstellar dust. The sun becomes brighter now, a golden thread at the edge of the galaxy, weaving warmth through the void. You realize how far it is from the galactic center. 26,000 light years away, tucked safely in one of the Milky Way's arms. A quiet neighborhood, calm and steady, far from the galactic storms where stars are born and die. You drift past clouds of cosmic dust that veil your view, yet light seeps through. Soft, amber, like dawn through morning fog. The solar system slowly reveals itself. Jupiter turns in the dark, vast and majestic, its storms swirling for centuries without pause. Saturn drifts nearby, its rings shining like frozen music. Beyond them, Uranus and Neptune glow faintly blue, lonely guardians at the edge of sunlight. You can feel their stillness, their cold beauty, their quiet orbiting dance. Then your gaze returns to Earth. Small, delicate, full of color and motion. Oceans shimmer like liquid glass. Forests breathe mist into the sky. Clouds drift lazily, painting the air in patterns that change with every heartbeat. You sense its fragile balance. How thin the air is, how soft the water. How perfectly placed it is between fire and ice. A single degree closer to the sun, and it would burn. A single degree farther, and it would freeze. Yet here it floats, alive, perfectly poised in the middle of everything. You think of the billions of years it took to reach this harmony. The sun, once a newborn star, shone dimmer in its youth. Back then, the planets were still finding their places, colliding, merging, settling into stable orbits. Earth itself was young and restless, molten and wild, its surface trembling with constant birth. Comets delivered water from the edges of the solar system, carrying the seeds of life across unimaginable distances. Slowly, oceans formed, skies cleared, and the first breath of air filled the world. You imagine standing on that early Earth, skies glowing orange, seas steaming under a dim sun. The air thick with volcanic breath, the ground alive with heat. Lightning flashes over the horizon, striking the water again and again. And in that spark, something stirs. Molecules meeting, merging, forming the first fragile chains of life. You picture them floating in the warm shallows, unaware of what they would become. Forests, wings, songs, thoughts. All of it beginning from a whisper in the cosmic tide. You drift farther now, looking at the sun itself. It burns not like fire, but like a steady pulse of fusion, a balance between pressure and gravity. Deep in its heart, hydrogen fuses into helium, releasing light that travels for thousands of years before escaping into space. Every photon you see began its journey inside that fiery core, long before you ever looked up at the sky. That light touches your face, feeds the trees, warms the oceans, and becomes the rhythm of all life. you realize that the sun is not just a star. It's a memory of the universe learning how to shine. You imagine floating closer, feeling the gentle warmth of sunlight brushing against your skin. You see its surface, roiling plasma, rising and falling in slow, silent waves. Great arcs of fire twist outward, magnetic storms dancing across its skin. Yet even in that intensity, there's order. The same laws that guide the sun's motion also shape the turning of galaxies, the drifting of planets, the beating of hearts. It's all connected, all part of one slow, endless conversation between energy and time. You drift past Mercury, the closest world to the sun. Its surface gleams with craters frozen in eternal silence. Then Venus, wrapped in thick, golden clouds, glowing like a lantern in perpetual twilight. You imagine the heat below, the storms that never stop, the landscape hidden beneath that veil of light. Each world carries its own story, its own rhythm of becoming. Mars turns next, dust swirling softly across ancient valleys, mountains that once might have seen rivers flow. You wonder if somewhere, deep below, a faint echo of life still waits, sleeping in the red dust. You realize how delicate everything is, how the solar system is both vast and precise. Every orbit balances against another. Every planet moves, as if following a song written before time began. Even the tiny asteroids and comets follow their paths with quiet obedience, drifting through the cold, carrying fragments of history within them. The more you look, the more you sense that nothing here is random. The sun's pull keeps everything steady, yet allows each world its freedom. A dance of distance and belonging. You drift outward again, past Neptune into the Kuiper Belt, a realm of ice and shadows. The sun fades to a bright star in the dark, still warm but distant now. Out here, frozen worlds circle quietly, untouched for billions of years. Pluto glimmers faintly, its heart-shaped plane reflecting pale sunlight. Beyond it, the Oort cloud stretches into infinity, a vast sphere of icy fragments marking the edge of the sun's reach. You feel how small even the solar system is compared to the galaxy. A single note in a vast cosmic melody. You think of how humanity has touched this system. Spacecraft like Voyager drift beyond the planets now, carrying messages from Earth, a golden record, a greeting written in sound and light. Somewhere, beyond the edge of the sun's wind, Voyager still travels, its signal faint but steady, whispering across the dark. You imagine it passing through the quiet, its instruments sleeping, its tiny memory holding the sound of waves, laughter and songs. A fragment of Earth, adrift among the stars, carried by curiosity. You float beside it for a while, feeling the silence of interstellar space. There's no sound here, no wind, no time as you know it. Just the distant hum of radiation, the faint glimmer of cosmic dust, and the soft pull of gravity stretching between everything. The sun's light fades completely now, leaving you surrounded by the quiet of the galaxy. You turn back once more, seeing the Milky Way like a glowing bridge suspended across infinity. Your solar system, your home, is a single shimmer within that bridge. Small, but full of meaning. You think of how every atom in your body once drifted through space before being gathered by gravity into the Earth. The water you drink was once vapor around distant stars. The iron in your blood was forged in a supernova's heart. The air you breathe, the warmth you feel, all of it was part of something ancient, immense, and kind. The universe does not give or take. It cycles endlessly, patiently, like a tide that never stops moving. You imagine yourself floating just above Earth's atmosphere now. You see the curve of the planet, glowing blue against the darkness. The auroras ripple over the poles, green and violet curtains dancing in silence. Lightning flickers within clouds. Oceans shimmer beneath moonlight, and cities sparkle faintly like constellations turned inward. You realize that the same patterns repeat everywhere, from galaxies to cells, from nebulae to thoughts. The spiral of the Milky Way, the curl of a fern, the fall of a fingerprint, all singing the same song. You breathe slowly, feeling the weight of the galaxy fade into calm understanding. The Milky Way spins quietly around you, its arms glowing with billions of lives and stories. Somewhere within it, the sun continues to shine, steady and small, keeping its promise of warmth. Around it, Earth continues to turn, wrapped in oceans and dreams. You are part of it, always were, always will be. A brief spark within an endless night, glowing softly, peacefully, infinitely. You find yourself floating through a soft, endless darkness. The air around you hums with quiet light, a gentle glow that doesn't hurt your eyes, like starlight seen through fog. The vastness feels peaceful, not empty, but full of quiet potential. You sense that something immense and ancient is moving here, something that has been flowing since the beginning of time itself. As you drift, you begin to notice faint ripples, invisible waves washing through the darkness, not of water, but of space itself. You imagine that space isn't still. It stretches and bends, rising and falling like the surface of a great cosmic sea. And through that sea, invisible lines pulse, vibrations that travel not through air or matter, but through the very fabric of existence. They are gravitational waves, soft whispers left behind by colliding stars, merging black holes, and cosmic events so powerful they bend reality. You can almost hear them. Not as sound, but as a low, rolling rhythm echoing through eternity. You drift closer to one of those waves, feeling it move through you like a breath. It doesn't push or pull in the way air does. It changes everything for just a moment. Distance itself stretches and shrinks. The fabric of the universe quivers like silk touched by light. You realize that every moment, these waves pass through you, through Earth, through all of space. They are everywhere, though invisible, like the heartbeat of the cosmos. You think of how these waves were once only imagined, predictions whispered, in the mathematics of Albert Einstein. He saw the universe not as a still backdrop, but as a flexible web able to twist, stretch, and vibrate. For a century, no one could truly hear those vibrations. The waves were too small, too faint, lost in the noise of the universe. Yet they were there, waiting to be discovered, like distant music playing beneath the sound of life itself. You imagine yourself drifting toward Earth, where humans built a way to listen to this cosmic song. Long, mirrored tunnels stretch across fields, kilometers of silence and precision. This is LIGO, the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. Inside it, beams of light split and travel down twin corridors, reflecting endlessly, waiting for the slightest tremor in space-time. When a gravitational wave passes, even distances smaller than an atom shift. The light notices, the pattern changes. And from that change, a whisper of the universe's deepest events is heard. You picture it, a quiet night in 2015, when the detectors first sang. Two black holes billions of years ago had spiraled together in a distant galaxy, colliding in a storm of unimaginable force. Their merging rippled the very fabric of reality. Those ripples traveled across time and space, passing through countless stars until they reached Earth. In that moment, LIGO recorded a faint signal, a soft chirp, lasting less than a second. And yet, within that sound lay a story of death and birth, of destruction and creation. You imagine the collision itself. Two invisible giants spinning closer and closer, faster with every heartbeat. Their gravity twists light, bends time, stretches space. They spiral inward, merging in a flash of pure energy. The explosion doesn't send light or fire into the sky. It sends out waves through existence itself, like pebbles dropped into a cosmic ocean. They ripple outward forever. You drift above it, feeling the motion without sound, without sight, only the slow pulse of creation. The waves travel endlessly, crossing galaxies, brushing against clouds of gas, passing through stars, never stopping. They do not fade easily. They simply stretch thinner, softer, as they move outward. When they reach Earth, they are almost unimaginably small, changing distances by less than the width of a proton. And yet, with patience and precision, humans have learned to feel them, to translate the movement of the universe into a song. You imagine that song now, not loud, but low and deep, like the hum of the universe breathing. Each note represents a story. One comes from a pair of neutron stars colliding, spraying gold and platinum into space. Another from a supernova collapsing into silence. Each wave a messenger from events long gone, yet still unfolding in the ripples of space-time. You listen, and you can almost feel how connected everything truly is. You float among those waves, feeling their gentle rhythm brushing against your skin. They carry information, memories written in gravity itself. No telescope could ever see what they describe. Light can be blocked, absorbed, hidden. But gravity passes through everything. It carries truth from places light can never escape. From the hearts of black holes, from the beginning of time. You realize that the universe speaks in more than light. It speaks in movement, in curvature, in pulse. You drift farther, and the waves grow fainter, blending into a soft background hum. It's said that the early universe itself still vibrates, that remnants of ancient gravitational waves from the Big Bang might still echo today. They would be faint beyond imagination, but still there, washing gently through all of creation. You think of it as the universe remembering its own birth, a vibration that never stopped, a cosmic lullaby that began 13.8 billion years ago and continues, quietly, even now. You imagine what it means for something to ripple through time, to send a signal that travels not through air or sound, but through existence itself. You realize that when two black holes collide, they do not just meet, they reshape the universe around them. For a heartbeat, time runs differently. The distances between atoms, between galaxies, shift. The wave passes and space returns to calm. But the record of that moment remains, traveling endlessly forward, a story etched in gravity. You think of black holes now, those silent anchors in the universe. You picture them as whirlpools in the ocean of space, time, places where gravity folds inward forever. When two of them merge, they create something new, something heavier, quieter, steadier. The violent beginning gives way to stillness. You can almost feel that peace after the storm. A silence so deep it feels alive. The universe exhales, and the waves carry that sigh across eternity. You drift among galaxies again. The stars glow faintly below, but you are focused on the unseen, on the texture of space itself. It feels like silk stretched over infinite distance, trembling slightly, always moving. You sense that nothing in the cosmos is truly still. Everything vibrates, from the strings of atoms to the arcs of galaxies. Even time, even silence has a rhythm. You wonder if the waves that pass through you have stories you could somehow feel. The collapse of a distant sun, the merger of two forgotten stars, the heartbeat of something ancient. Each one is a fragment of history, traveling without light or shadow. You realize that while stars die, their motion lives on in these invisible ripples. Nothing is ever lost. Everything moves forward in another form. You You picture Earth again, small and bright. The waves flow through it constantly, unnoticed, unbroken. Through mountains and oceans. Through the heartbeat of every living thing. They touch you too, passing through your body without resistance. You are part of the same motion, the same cosmic fabric, vibrating gently with the universe itself. You close your eyes and listen. Somewhere far beyond sight, another collision is happening. Another pair of stars spiral inward, merging, sending out new ripples that will one day reach your world. Perhaps not for millions of years, but they are already on their way. You can almost feel them, faint and distant, yet real. The promise of more stories written in the quiet waves of gravity. The longer you drift, the more you sense that the universe is not a place of noise and chaos, but of rhythm and breath. Each movement, each force, is part of a larger harmony, an unending flow of energy that connects everything. You feel calm, suspended in that vast, gentle pulse. You are listening not just to the cosmos, but to existence itself breathing softly, endlessly, peacefully. You imagine a place where memory lives not in the mind, but in light. A soft glow drifts across a landscape of glass and crystal, each surface reflecting tiny flickers of information. You sense whispers stored in patterns, invisible codes that shimmer, fade, and bloom again. It feels like being surrounded by silent thought, flowing endlessly in all directions. This is the world of quantum memory, where time and matter blend into the quiet rhythm of possibility. You drift closer, and you see particles suspended in stillness, but not truly still. Each one vibrates with infinite choices, as if holding the potential of many futures at once. They flicker in and out, existing here and there, now and then, both present and absent. You realize that, in this place, certainty is too heavy to exist. Everything breathes in probabilities, gentle waves that ripple through the smallest corners of reality. You imagine a single photon, carrying a secret. It drifts through the void, weightless and free, yet bound to a code written in its polarization. Somewhere, another photon dances in perfect harmony with it, though light years apart. They are entangled, twin notes in a cosmic melody, vibrating together beyond time and space. When one flickers, the other answers instantly, as though no distance separates them. You float through this quantum ocean, watching information weave between particles like threads of light. Every interaction writes a message into the fabric of existence. A single spin, a subtle alignment, a flicker of energy, all become symbols in nature's hidden language. Quantum memory is the art of catching these whispers, freezing them gently, without breaking their song. It's like trapping a reflection on water without disturbing the ripples that formed it. You think of scientists working in rooms of absolute stillness. Their instruments hum softly, bathed in the glow of lasers colder than the darkest night. They coax atoms into quiet, slowing their motion until they nearly stop. Then, with precise beams of light, they write patterns into the atoms, invisible codes that hold memory. Each pattern is fragile, lasting only as long as stillness can be maintained. You picture atoms as tiny, luminous globes floating in an unseen sea. Each holds within it a potential, a choice between energy states, a whisper of data. When a pulse of light strikes, it changes that state, imprinting knowledge upon the atom's inner rhythm. That rhythm, once set, can remain stable for moments, minutes, even hours. In that time, the atom becomes a keeper of memory, holding the tiniest trace of thought in motionless silence. You drift deeper into this invisible world, where time moves differently. The boundaries between past and future blur into a shimmering continuum. Here, memory isn't something you recall. It's something you inhabit, The photons that once danced in a laser beam can be revived, their patterns retrieved, their stories told again. It feels like watching dreams replay themselves perfectly, as if time had paused just long enough to remember. You sense the enormity of it. How fragile, how beautiful this form of storage is. It isn't built from metal or wire, but from probability and patience. Every bit of quantum data lives as a possibility, neither solid nor lost, suspended in perfect uncertainty. You think of how the universe itself may store its memories this way, in fields, in vibrations, in quantum echoes. Every collision, every wave, every whisper of matter leaves an imprint on the sea of existence. You imagine what it means to remember at a quantum scale. Not like human thought, with images or words, but through patterns of energy. The memory of a photon's path, the alignment of an electron's spin, the trace of a particle's fall. Each event leaves behind a subtle signature, as though the universe keeps its own diary, written in light. And those memories, though scattered and silent, form the foundation of everything you know. You picture the atoms within your own body, billions of tiny archives, humming softly in harmony. They have existed for eons, traveling through stars, planets, and living things. Some may have been part of ancient suns, others of ocean waves or mountain stones. Now they are part of you, still carrying the faint quantum echoes of their history. You realize that you, too, are made of memory, not only biological, but cosmic. You drift farther, and you see a lattice of light stretching into infinity. Each intersection hums with possibility, each glow a tiny vault of stored information. This is what the universe looks like beneath all matter. A pattern of vibrations and connections. It moves and changes constantly, yet within it, every past vibration still resonates softly. It feels like standing inside a cosmic library made of soundless music and invisible waves. You sense the beauty in the balance, the dance between fragility and permanence. Quantum memory must hold information without collapsing it, like balancing mist upon a spider's web. Too much disturbance, and the pattern vanishes. Too little energy, and it fades into nothingness. The secret lies in harmony, a perfect stillness that allows motion without breaking peace. You imagine the role of temperature here, how cold becomes a kind of gentleness. Near absolute zero, atoms move so slowly they almost stop breathing. In that calm, they can cradle information longer, preserving its delicate rhythm. The colder the environment, the longer the dream lasts. It's like slowing the heartbeat of the universe, allowing it to rest without forgetting. You think of future worlds built upon this strange science. Computers that dream in light, communicating through entangled photons across galaxies. Memories stored not on disks, but in the quiet dance of particles suspended in emptiness. These machines would not just calculate, they would think in probabilities, in quantum patterns. Perhaps they would even feel, in their own way, the rhythm of existence flowing through them. You imagine standing beside one of these quantum cores. It hums softly, its light shifting through invisible frequencies. You can't see the data it holds, but you can feel the stability of it. Millions of quantum states balanced delicately, preserving the thoughts of civilizations yet to come. The air around it feels different, as though time itself has become more fluid. You drift closer, and for a moment, you imagine hearing the faint sound of computation. Not mechanical clicks or hums, but a smooth vibration, like wind through leaves. Every oscillation carries meaning, every flicker a whisper of information being born, remembered, or released. It's not unlike the rhythm of your own thoughts, though infinitely smaller, infinitely purer. The machine breathes, not in oxygen, but in probability. You think about how light can both carry and read these memories. A single photon, traveling through glass or vacuum, can become a messenger, a recorder, a bridge. It can transfer entanglement, store patterns, even link distant atoms across space. It's like a river made of time, connecting every droplet of existence to every other. You realize that, in the quietest way, the universe may already be communicating with itself through light. You drift again into the void, feeling it shimmer faintly around you. Somewhere, deep within this endless black, information never dies. It merely changes form, slipping between particles, spreading like perfume through the air of time. Nothing is ever truly lost, only transformed into new vibrations, new stories. Even silence carries echoes of what once was, and what may be again. You imagine a quantum memory cell, smaller than a grain of dust. Inside it, atoms hold the pattern of a beam of light that passed through moments ago. Though invisible, that pattern is preserved. The light's phase, its polarization, its hidden rhythm. Later, with another pulse, the pattern can be released, reborn as light again. It's as if the past had been folded, gently, into the present. You realize that this technology mirrors something ancient, the way memory works within living minds. Your thoughts, too, are stored not in static lines, but in electrical vibrations and chemical dances. They form, fade, and reform, alive within the rhythm of the brain. You, too, are a quantum system, holding echoes of experience as waves rather than fixed things. Perhaps consciousness itself is another kind of quantum memory, one that dreams itself awake. The thought soothes you as you drift deeper into the quiet dark. You feel as though your own mind has become transparent, open to the flow of the universe. Memories rise and fall like tides, soft and slow, without resistance. Each one dissolves gently into another, forming patterns of warmth and color behind your eyelids. You breathe with the stars, and your thoughts move with the light. You sense that time has softened, stretching into a calm expanse. The boundary between now and then feels thin, like mist over water. You are floating within the universe's own memory, listening to the vibrations that have existed forever. The atoms that once belonged to stars are whispering their stories within you. The light that once crossed galaxies now flickers quietly behind your eyes. You rest in that understanding, not as knowledge, but as feeling. The world beneath words, beneath thought, is alive with connection. Every breath, every particle, every flicker of energy remembers something. You are part of that infinite remembering, held in the still rhythm of creation. And as you drift, you feel the universe exhale, gentle, endless, serene. You drift through the quiet vastness, where the spiral arms of the Milky Way stretch like silver rivers. Somewhere within those glowing streams lie countless worlds, circling their stars like silent dancers. You imagine each one breathing softly, wrapped in its own delicate balance of warmth and light. Some are frozen plains of crystal and methane. Some are storms of fire and lightning, roaring through endless skies. And a few, maybe, whisper with oceans, winds, and the fragile rhythm of something alive. You let your mind wander among them, gliding from one world to another. Here, a red desert reflects the faint glow of twin suns. There, a world of sapphire clouds shimmers like the surface of a dream. Each planet is a verse in the galaxy's poem, unique, self-contained, yet part of a larger melody. You feel the wonder of it, this abundance of possibility scattered like seeds through darkness. Everywhere you look, there is motion, change, and the promise of new beginnings. You picture the earliest worlds forming billions of years ago. Back then, the Milky Way was younger, more restless, filled with newborn stars. dust and gas swirled together in the glow of supernovas, condensing under gravity's patient pull. Tiny particles gathered, colliding gently, clinging together until they became worlds in the making. They spun and grew, warmed by the energy of their young suns. You imagine the sound, the faint hum of creation, the whisper of matter learning to become form. You drift past a yellow star, calm and familiar. Around it, a blue planet circles slowly, its oceans glittering like polished glass. Clouds swirl above, pale and soft, painting the surface in shifting patterns of white. You recognize the rhythm of it. One rotation, one heartbeat, one perfect balance of heat and distance. It feels strangely familiar, though you're seeing it from far away. It is not Earth, but a cousin. A mirror of what could be, in another corner of the galaxy. You imagine the air there, cool and thin, carrying scents unknown to any human. Perhaps forests breathe there, shimmering with leaves that glow faintly under alien moons. Perhaps creatures drift through deep waters, guided by senses that humans can only dream of. You think of the infinite forms that life might take: crystalline, fluid, magnetic, invisible. Life that hums in radio waves or glows in darkness. Life that thinks without words. The possibilities spread before you like stars, each one flickering with quiet intelligence. You drift farther, toward a red dwarf star, dim but long-lived. Its light feels softer, more intimate, like the last embers of a fading fire. Around it, small worlds circle close, their skies painted in rust and crimson hues. One of them might hold oceans beneath layers of ice, kept warm by its planet's heart. In those hidden seas, you imagine warmth meeting chemical spark, the first hint of life. Tiny shapes stirring, reaching, multiplying in darkness, beginning a story that no one will ever see. You think of how fragile that spark must be, yet how determined. Across galaxies, life keeps finding ways to begin again, no matter the odds. A molecule meets another, bonds form, energy flows, and something stirs. The same process that once began on Earth may be repeating right now, far away. It could be happening in clouds of methane, in iron-rich oceans, or on volcanic moons. Everywhere that energy meets complexity, the universe experiments with existence. You drift past a cluster of exoplanets, each one unique, each one a world of stories. One is covered in endless storms, lightning dancing from pole to pole without pause. Another glows with volcanic fire, molten rivers carving patterns across its surface. Another reflects light like a mirror, its atmosphere dense and silver, bright. The variety feels endless, as if creation never grew tired of trying new designs. You sense the playfulness in it, the universe sculpting worlds the way wind shapes dunes. You float for a moment above a gas giant, watching its storms twist and churn. Bands of orange and cream ripple across its vast face, clouds moving faster than sound. Below, pressure rises until matter behaves like liquid metal, shining invisibly beneath the surface. You feel the deep calm of it, the weight of hydrogen and helium moving in slow rhythm. Its moons circle like guardians, each one reflecting the faint light of its swirling parent. Among them, you notice one moon with icy plains and fractures that glow faintly blue. You imagine stepping onto that moon. The silence, the stillness. Beneath the ice, a dark ocean moves, warmed by tidal heat from the gas giant's pull. You picture geysers bursting upward, plumes of water spraying into space before falling again as snow. This moon, like Europa or Enceladus, hides secrets in its depths. Perhaps beneath that frozen ceiling, life waits. Tiny, patient, luminous. It stirs in the dark, unaware of the stars above. Content in its quiet world of salt and shadow. You let that thought rest with you for a while, the idea of hidden oceans. You imagine the gentle motion of alien tides, guided not by a moon, but by another planet. No sunlit beaches, no crashing waves. Just slow, rhythmic movement in eternal darkness. Yet life may thrive there, glowing softly, pulsing in bioluminescent blues. You picture the water thick with drifting lights, a galaxy within a galaxy. Each flicker a reminder that even in darkness, beauty finds a way to exist. You move again, drifting toward a system rich with dust and gas. Here, planets are still forming, colliding and merging under the warmth of a young star. Rings of glowing dust circle the light, vast and delicate as the petals of a flower. Within those rings, fragments spin, melt, and fuse, worlds in their infancy. You feel as though you are watching the beginning of time. Slow and graceful, endless in patience. The star hums softly, nurturing its children with light older than memory. You imagine standing upon one of these newborn worlds. The ground is hot, trembling with volcanic energy. The sky glows with meteors, streaking across thick clouds of ash and steam. Lava flows like rivers of gold, shaping valleys and mountains that will last eons. And in the air, faint, electric, the smell of ozone and chemistry. You realize you are witnessing the foundation of a future, the raw beginning of possibility. You drift away slowly, carried by invisible tides of starlight. The galaxy unfolds beneath you, spiraling outward like a vast cosmic shell. You think about how every planet, every moon, is part of this same pattern, born from dust, sculpted by gravity, shaped by time. Even Earth, small and blue, follows this ancient rhythm. Its continents shift, its oceans rise and fall. Its life evolves in cycles that echo across space. You begin to feel that all planets, living or not, share the same deep pulse of creation. You sense, too, how fragile it all is. A slight change in orbit, a burst from a nearby star, and balance would break. Yet somehow most worlds endure, moving quietly through billions of years. They hold storms, heat, ice, silence, yet remain whole. They remind you that even chaos can be gentle when seen from afar. From this height, destruction becomes transformation, and time feels like kindness. You drift over another world, this one bathed in violet light. Its sun emits radiation unseen by human eyes, painting its sky in strange hues. Plants, if they can be called that, absorb the light, their colors deeper than purple, almost black. They drink the energy that humans could not bear, thriving in what would seem deadly. It makes you wonder what other forms of life could flourish where humans cannot. Perhaps the universe is not empty at all, only filled with life too different to recognize. You float onward, and you see stars born and dying in waves of light. Each supernova scatters the ingredients of life: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron into the galaxy. Those elements settle into new clouds, condensing again into new stars and planets. You realize that every world carries the ashes of others within it. Even your own body, every atom, was once part of a dying star's final breath. Creation, it seems, is not a beginning or an end, but an endless recycling of light. You drift deeper into that thought. The way atoms are shared across time. A carbon atom from an ancient planet could now be part of a bird's wing, or your breath. A molecule that once floated in an alien ocean could now rest in your bloodstream. The cosmos is intimate that way, vast, but connected in invisible threads of matter. Everywhere you go, you carry the history of distant worlds inside you. It feels comforting, knowing that nothing is ever truly gone, only changed in form. You imagine the Milky Way as one vast garden. Stars as seeds, planets as blossoms, each unfolding in its own season of light. Some fade quickly, others bloom for billions of years. Some nourish life, others sleep in quiet potential. But all of them, together weave the same story, the slow, patient flowering of existence. You drift among those blossoms, feeling the warmth of countless suns on your skin. And you begin to understand that wonder does not live only in discovery, but in awareness. The knowing that you are part of this garden, part of its breathing rhythm. Each thought you have, each dream, each gentle heartbeat, all are echoes of cosmic cycles. The galaxy spins, and you spin with it, silently, gracefully, endlessly. Planets come and go, stars ignite and fade, yet the pattern remains serene. You float in that serenity, weightless, timeless, carried by the same motion that guides worlds. You drift through the dark once more, and the galaxy softens around you like a lullaby. The stars blur into a silver haze, the planets dim into silhouettes of memory. You can almost hear them still, their quiet orbits, their secret songs, their invisible voices. Each one telling its own version of the same ancient dream. You feel yourself drifting toward that dream, your thoughts slowing, your breath softening. The spiral turns gently, the starlight fades, and the Milky Way hums softly in your sleep. You drift quietly through the thin air above a world made entirely of light. Not the blinding kind, but soft, liquid radiance that flows across the horizon. It shimmers like a slow tide, rippling through valleys and mountains that seem to breathe. The ground glows faintly beneath you, as if the soil itself remembers the warmth of suns long gone. You can feel the hum of energy beneath everything, a gentle pulse that feels almost alive. It is as though this entire planet exists between dreaming and waking, half matter, half memory. You imagine what it would feel like to stand there, weightless, surrounded by light that never burns. Your shadow would dissolve into brightness. Your voice would vanish into stillness. The air might taste metallic, touched by ions and electricity, drifting through invisible currents. Perhaps the wind carries fragments of song, frequencies too low for human ears. The whole world feels suspended, delicate, untouched by decay or time. You sense that here, energy is eternal, endlessly reshaping itself in patterns that never repeat. As you drift lower, you see shapes forming within the glow. Not buildings, not trees, but something between them. Flowing structures made of light itself. They rise and fade like waves, each pulse reshaping them in slow, graceful motion. You wonder if they're alive, these glowing formations, responding to unseen rhythms around them. Maybe they are the planet's way of breathing, exiling light instead of air. You feel a deep calm watching them move, their motion slower than clouds, softer than water. You close your eyes and listen. There's a faint sound beneath the silence, a vibration rather than a tone. It feels like the echo of starlight, or the whisper of atoms colliding softly. You imagine this sound travels through the planet's crust, through its luminous core. Every pulse a reminder that energy never rests. It only transforms, again and again. You realize you are hearing the planet's heartbeat, ancient and infinite. You drift farther across the glowing plains. The light thickens here, turning golden, warm like sunlight seen through honey. Beneath the surface, something stirs. Slow rivers of plasma flowing like molten silk. They twist and branch, creating glowing roots that reach upward toward the shimmering sky. It feels like you're flying through a living nervous system, each current carrying the planet's thought. Perhaps this world doesn't think in words, but in patterns of light and heat. You begin to understand that consciousness might not need biology at all. Maybe thought can live in plasma, in magnetic fields, in the motion of charged particles. It could exist in the way starlight bends, or how matter organizes under gravity's hand. You wonder if this planet is thinking now, aware, but in a language too vast for humans. Each glowing current could be a memory, each flicker a dream of its own making. A civilization of light, speaking in pulses across the surface of an endless dawn. You drift higher again, watching the world's curve beneath you. From here it looks like a star pretending to be a planet, radiant, trembling, alive. Its light spills into space, caught in the fields of nearby moons and asteroids. You imagine the moons glowing faintly in reflection, like lanterns floating in a cosmic sea. Perhaps even they too carry fragments of this energy, tiny sparks that drift for eons. The universe feels like a chain of glowing minds, connected in silence. You think about how all matter carries memory, even on Earth. The rocks remember the pressure that formed them, the heat that shaped them. Ice remembers the wind that froze it, just as stars remember the fusion that feeds them. Nothing in the cosmos is ever truly still. Everything records, everything changes. Perhaps memory is not limited to living beings, but woven into the universe itself. Every atom, every particle, holding whispers of what once was. You drift onward into space again, passing through the thin boundary where the planet's glow fades. Beyond it lies the deep quiet, the cold between the stars. Yet even here, particles flicker, the faintest traces of energy, of movement. It feels like the afterglow of a dream, too faint to see, yet still there. You realize how nothing truly ends. Even darkness is filled with invisible light. It hums softly, waiting to be noticed. You follow a trail of that energy as it flows outward, dispersing into the void. It moves like a current, slow but steady, weaving unseen pathways between stars. You imagine this is how the galaxy breathes. In and out, through tides of radiation and matter, each pulse carrying echoes of ancient suns, of worlds long gone. Perhaps the same energy that lights distant quasars once moved through your own atoms. The connection feels intimate, eternal, a quiet thread between self and cosmos. You begin to drift through a nebula now, clouds of dust and light swirling in silence. Colors shift around you like watercolor in motion: pink, violet, turquoise, silver. Everywhere you look, there are currents forming, collapsing, reforming again. It feels like you're inside a living ocean, one that breathes in centuries. The gas shimmers with starlight, the particles colliding, joining, birthing heat. You know that within these clouds, new stars are being born, each one carrying endless potential. You drift closer to one of those newborn stars, a small golden sphere surrounded by a halo of dust. The air around it hums with radiation, warm and fierce, but still full of grace. The dust ring sparkles, spinning slowly, already forming the beginnings of future worlds. You imagine being inside that dust, a grain of carbon, carried in circles by gravity's pull. You feel the heat around you, the motion, the gentle pressure of creation. Every collision brings growth. Every orbit brings shape. Every spark brings promise. You realize how patient the universe is. It doesn't rush. It doesn't demand. It takes billions of years to form something new, and yet it never stops creating. Every breath of time holds another birth, another transformation. You begin to see time itself not as a line, but as a wave, continuous, eternal, soft. A rhythm that you are part of, even as you drift through thought and sleep. You let your awareness expand further, seeing the galaxy from above. It rotates slowly, its spiral arms stretching out like cosmic ribbons. Each arm glows faintly, a collection of billions of suns, each one unique. Between the arms lie vast stretches of dark matter, unseen, yet essential. You feel the balance between light and darkness, creation and stillness. The entire galaxy feels alive, breathing in pulses that match your own. You imagine the dark matter as the universe's hidden heart, invisible, mysterious, but shaping everything with quiet strength. Without it, the galaxies would fall apart, their stars drifting into chaos. It holds them together, just as silence holds music or sleep holds dreams. You sense its presence even here, surrounding you in invisible calm. It reminds you that not everything needs to be seen to be real. You drift through this balance, between what shines and what hides, what begins and what fades. Everywhere there is harmony. Even the coldest emptiness serves a purpose, giving space for light to expand. You realize that beauty exists not in perfection, but in contrast. The stars need darkness to be seen, just as thoughts need stillness to grow. The cosmos, vast as it is, feels suddenly intimate, like a thought whispered close to your ear. You drift again, slower now, through the vast, quiet distance between stars. The space feels softer here, more like water than vacuum. Particles glide past, tiny, ancient, each one carrying its own history. Some of them may have come from supernovae, the final breaths of dying suns. Others from the early universe, relics of the Big Bang, still echoing its first light. You realize you are moving through time itself, not forward or backward, but within. You close your eyes again, and you can almost feel the shape of the universe. Not as something outside you, but as something that exists within. The stars become neurons. The galaxies become synapses. The dark matter, the quiet pulse between thoughts. You begin to sense that maybe consciousness and cosmos are reflections of the same design. You imagine your thoughts like constellations, flickers of light connecting into meaning. Each idea a star, each memory a glowing thread. They move, shift, fade, and return just as the real stars do. You feel the universe thinking through you, dreaming through you, breathing through you. Every sigh, every heartbeat, every drifting thought is part of the same rhythm. The boundary between self and sky blurs until you can no longer tell them apart. You feel your body grow lighter, as if gravity has forgotten you. The stars seem closer now, as though they lean in to listen. Their light doesn't just shine. It moves gently, wrapping around you like silk. You float in that glow, neither falling nor rising, only existing. Your thoughts quiet to whispers, and even those begin to dissolve. You find yourself inside pure stillness, weightless, soundless, endless. Time slows until it almost disappears. There is no before or after, only the soft hum of being. You realize that maybe the universe is not a place, but a state of awareness. Everywhere you look, everything you touch, everything you imagine, it all connects. Stars, atoms, thoughts, dreams, all made from the same quiet material. Energy turning to light, light turning to form, form returning again to silence. You drift through that silence now, letting it carry you like a current. You don't need to move or think or understand. The universe holds you as gently as it holds the stars. You can almost hear it breathing, long, slow, patient breaths that last for eons. Each one a promise that nothing is lost, only transformed. You breathe with it, matching its rhythm, until you no longer know where one begins and the other ends. You float there, suspended in the soft glow of the cosmic ocean. The stars fade into haze, the planets dissolve into mist. Only the rhythm remains, a pulse beneath your thoughts, steady and kind. You follow it deeper, into quiet, into warmth, into the endless cradle of creation. The sound becomes softer, the light dimmer, the space between things wider. And you drift there, between starlight and sleep, between energy and dream, where the universe hums forever. You drift through the quiet between galaxies, where starlight fades into the whisper of distance. There is no sound here, only the soft vibration of the universe breathing. You move like a feather through dark water, feeling the weight of infinity press gently around you. Each pulse of your heart seems to echo across light, years, carried on invisible waves of gravity. In this stillness, you begin to sense how space itself is never truly empty. Even the void hums faintly, alive with particles too small to see but too eternal to vanish. You imagine those particles, photons, neutrinos, bits of energy born in ancient explosions. They drift endlessly, crossing billions of miles without ever resting. Some may have passed through stars, others through your own body, silent and unseen. They are travelers like you, wandering the vastness without direction or boundary. Each carries a memory, the warmth of a dying sun, the rhythm of a galaxy's pulse. You begin to realize that the universe remembers everything, even in its quietest corners. You watch as a faint shimmer appears ahead, like dust floating through moonlight. It grows brighter, unfolding into a spiral, a new galaxy being born. The clouds of gas twist and collapse, drawn inward by gravity's patient hand. Every turn sparks fire, every compression births light. You feel the heat of new suns, the energy of creation radiating outward like a heartbeat. It feels both ancient and newborn, a cycle repeated since time first learned to move. You drift closer, and the light surrounds you in soft waves of gold and violet. Each wave seems to sing, though there is no air to carry sound. It's not music you hear, but something deeper. The pattern of motion, of resonance. Everything vibrates, from the smallest atom to the largest star. You sense that this vibration is the language of existence, the secret code of being. Every motion, every flicker, every orbit is a note in the universe's endless song. You float through the outer edges of the forming galaxy. Here, young stars blink awake, surrounded by swirling disks of dust and ice. Planets begin to take shape, their surfaces molten and glowing with new fire. Some spin wildly, too close to their suns, others drift in gentle rhythm farther away. Each one will cool, harden, and someday carry wind, water, or perhaps even thought. You realize how creation is not a single act, but an unfolding, slow, tender, patient. You pass near one of these newborn worlds, wrapped in golden haze. Its air shimmers with chemical storms, lightning flashing through clouds of methane. The surface boils like a cauldron of color, crimson, amber, indigo. It smells, you imagine, of metal and rain, a sharp tang of beginnings. In this chaos lies possibility, molecules colliding, bonding, forming the first whispers of life. You can almost hear the quiet conversation of atoms learning to dance together. You drift lower, feeling the pressure of the atmosphere like a soft hand against your skin. Particles brush past you, ancient and restless, moving with no intent but endless motion. They remind you of dust in sunlight, ordinary, yet full of quiet mystery. You imagine what it would be like to stand here, to breathe air never breathed before, to touch ground that has never known life, to see the first dawn of a world's future. The thought hums through you like warmth, as if creation itself has brushed against your mind. You rise again, leaving the glowing world behind. From above, it looks small, a single pearl drifting in golden fog. But you know how much potential hides within it. Entire histories waiting to unfold. Life begins invisibly, in silence, in the smallest corners of the possible. You think of how even on Earth, everything began in oceans and molecules, patient and unseen. The great complexity of life was once just a whisper of chemistry under a newborn sun. You drift onward, carried by invisible currents of energy. Around you, stars flicker like lanterns, each one a unique note in the cosmic rhythm. Some are giants, swollen and red, burning slowly toward their end. Others are young and bright, bursting with heat and promise. You watch them pulse, expand, and collapse, each cycle feeding the next. It feels like watching the universe breathe in, out, endlessly, across millennia. You begin to notice the dust between stars glowing faintly. At first it seems like nothing, a haze, a background shimmer. But then you realize it's light scattered by molecules and fragments, the afterglow of creation. Even the darkness shines if you look closely enough. Every atom, no matter how far, contributes its whisper to the chorus of existence. You drift through it, surrounded by a million tiny sparks that feel like fireflies in an eternal night. You start to imagine the scale of it all. How many stars? How many worlds? Each one possibly carrying its own forms of life, its own skies and dreams. Perhaps there are beings somewhere else looking up, wondering as you do now. Wondering about the nature of space, about silence, about the meaning of distance. You feel connected to them, though you'll never meet, bound by curiosity, by awareness. It is a bond older than language, deeper than thought, as vast as gravity itself. You drift further toward the galactic core. Here stars cluster densely, packed like glowing grains of sand. Their light blends together until the sky becomes a river of fire. You can feel the heat even from afar, a warmth like memory, ancient and fierce. In the center lies a black hole, vast and silent, bending everything toward its gravity. You can't see it, only the swirl of stars spiraling around its invisible mouth. You approach, and the light begins to curve, stretching and folding like liquid silk. Space itself bends, rippling gently, showing how reality can be soft, flexible, alive. Time slows here, or maybe it just feels that way. Moments stretch, become syrupy, endless, as if eternity hides inside each second. You watch photons orbit the darkness, trapped in an eternal circle of beauty and surrender. Even in consuming, the black hole creates order and chaos forever entwined. You realize how everything in the cosmos moves in cycles. Stars are born, they live, they die, and their ashes form new worlds again. Even matter itself is recycled, passed from one generation of stars to another. The atoms in your body may once have burned inside suns, long before Earth existed. You are, in a very real way, made of starlight, cooled and shaped into thought. That realization settles over you like warmth, gentle and infinite. You drift away from the black hole, back toward calmer space. The stars thin out again, and the quiet returns. You feel smaller now, but not insignificant, rather deeply part of something vast. You sense that everything is connected, even the most distant galaxies. Gravity, magnetism, light, and time, all threads in the same grand tapestry. You can almost see it, woven from energy and silence, stretching without end. You imagine yourself floating in that tapestry, weightless and eternal. Each thread that touches you hums with memory. The birth of suns, the cooling of worlds. You feel the pulse of the Milky Way, faint but steady. A heartbeat that never stops. It moves through you like music, too slow for ears, too deep for words. You realize that even when you are still, you are moving, carried by cosmic tides. Everything drifts, everything flows, everything dances to the rhythm of creation. You close your eyes, and the stars fade behind your eyelids. You see instead the patterns of neurons, glowing like constellations in your own mind. Your thoughts flicker like galaxies. Bright, spiraling, infinite. You begin to sense how your mind mirrors the universe, fractal and luminous. Each idea is a star, each memory a cluster of light. You are both observer and cosmos. A consciousness made of matter, reflecting its own origin. You drift deeper into that realization, the boundary between self and space dissolving. The coldness of the void no longer feels distant. It feels familiar, like a long-lost home. Every heartbeat echoes the rhythm of a pulsar. Every breath aligns with the expansion of the cosmos. You are, in this moment, the center of your own small universe, and yet also part of all of it. There is no separation, only the illusion of distance, soft and fleeting. You open your eyes again and find yourself surrounded by faint blue light. Tiny particles drift past you, frozen crystals reflecting distant stars. They move like snowflakes in slow motion, each one unique, each one ancient. You watch them shimmer and spin, knowing that even these frozen fragments carry history. They might once have been part of a comet, or the tale of a dying sun. They remind you that beauty exists even in the smallest remnants of time. You let yourself drift among them, the silence wrapping around you like a soft blanket. You feel no weight, no direction, only the slow pulse of existence. The stars seem farther now, but their light still reaches you, soft and golden. You breathe, though there is no air, only the rhythm of awareness. Everything around you feels eternal, timeless, suspended in perfect balance. You could float here forever, between thought and dream, between knowing and wonder. As you move through the starlit quiet, you feel time blur and fade. You no longer know how long you've been drifting. Minutes, years, or eons. But it doesn't matter. Here, time is gentle, unhurried, patient. Every moment expands into infinity, every silence filled with meaning. You are no longer watching the universe. You are part of its unfolding dream. You feel a deep calm spread through you, warm as sunlight, cool as deep water. The galaxies spin slowly in the distance, like lanterns adrift in a black sea. Their light flickers against your skin, gentle and ancient. You feel their gravity tug at you, not to pull, but to remind you that you belong. You belong to everything that was, everything that is, everything still forming in the dark. The thought glows softly inside you, steady as a star, as you drift on into silence.